Thanks for tuning in to Tapped In. If you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed on the mats, come find your direction in our DFM Coaching BJJ School community. Now, let's get started.
Welcome to Tapped In. My name is David Figueroa-Martinez of DFM Coaching, and today we're going to be discussing burnout and how it doesn't always manifest loudly. I have suffered with burnout a couple times during my Jiu-Jitsu career. Sometimes it wasn't even like workload. It was other things going on. It was switching gyms. It was a couple of things that just kind of manifested in a way that I just felt like I was doing too much or I didn't want to be at the gym. It's a natural occurring aspect for all of us in some way and fashion. Sometimes it's connected to the workload that we have off the gym or off the mats. Sometimes it's family issues. Sometimes it's the gym itself. Maybe expectations are higher than they should be. Maybe there's drama at the gym. Maybe we're teaching too much on top of trying to train. Sometimes we're trying to get ready for a competition and we're overtaxing our bodies. There's a whole host of reasons why it occurs, but identifying is probably most important so that you can adjust how are you going to train or even if you need to take a step back. So burnout to me is not just exhaustion or being tired. It's a mix of mental, emotional, and physical depletion. You feel like you can't maintain the schedule that you have. You feel like you're at your wit's end sometimes. And it just, when you get there, things aren't clicking. Like when you get ready to the gym, there's no excitement. When you get to the gym, just kind of like, you're just there. You're not excited to be there. They're not happy to be there. Even if you're around people that you like, it's one of those things where you're just exhausted from training or other things. It doesn't matter what it is, but you're just at a level where things are not enjoyable for you. The difference between that and tired for me is the drive behind it. So I can be exhausted from training. I could have had like really serious training that day or for a couple of weeks, and my body can be drained. But if my drive to train isn't there, that's a good indication of I'm probably headed or already am in burnout. Different things. Tired body, achy body, but I still want to train or I still want to go into be at the gym versus I don't have the drive to get there. Wildly different things. And I'm hoping that more often than not, students don't exhibit that, because it's not a fun feeling to kind of like work through, especially when this is like your passion or the thing that gets you through life and gets you through the hard portions of life. When you're faced with difficult life situations and you don't have the drive to go train and do something that you really enjoy, that both the weight of both of those things become even heavier and become harder to kind of manage. The quiet signs would be, for me, skipping drills that you used to like, showing up, but you're just mentally kind of clocked out. You're not really paying attention. Where you would normally be joking and jovial and enjoying the company of your training partners, you're just kind of out of it. You avoid anything difficult. Like I might go to the gym and where I would normally like a hard roll with such and such, I'm just avoiding it at all costs. I'm trying to avoid anything too taxing. Like all those things are signs, and they're things that we really need to pay attention to instead of like hitting the gas and pushing through. This isn't something that you necessarily want to push through. I think a lot of people, especially around that blue belt stage, purple belt even, they get to that stage and then they're dealing with the blue belt blues on top of being maybe burned out and not having that connection to the thing that you really enjoyed, that they just quit. So there is no pushing through this, in my opinion. I think it really just needs to be addressed. Why burnout happens, sometimes we're overtraining without a clear plan, and we're just adding volume to kind of like solve issues. When I come to class, if I didn't have a plan and I was just going through the motions, it didn't do anything for me. It especially when I was burned out, it didn't help me. It didn't give me a purpose. So anytime that I was going through it, I tended to shift my goals, and specifically my short-term goals. When you're burned out and you're your guiding light is something that may occur a year or 2, 3, 4 years from now, that goal does not help at all. It's so far away and so divorced from reality at that moment that your burnout is going to get to you before that goal gets to you. So what I did sometimes was I would switch short-term goals. If I was working on a specific pass, you know what, I'm going to switch this up and I'm going to work guard. Maybe I switched up who I was training with, or I switched up the class that I was going to. And sometimes a fresh pair of eyes, a fresh approach to jiu-jitsu in terms of an instructor kind of shake that out of you, because it's something different. Their passion for what they're teaching might rub off on you. So I tended to things. I didn't want to repeat the same process every day or every week. I wanted something different to kind of shake that loose. If you're training with the thought in mind that you have to prove yourself every time you get on the mat, like maybe you're in a situation where the instructor is kind of always a little bit judgmental, that can lead to burnout, because you never have, your training is never left in a judgment-free zone where you can just play and experiment. You're always worried about making the next mistake, which you're going to do. But because you're so harping on it, it'll lead to that brain fatigue, which then leads to that burnout. In situations that I've seen, when we were in situations where we had instructors that were like that, when they weren't around, you can see people training different. You can see people be more relaxed. You can see them being more exploratory and experimental. That's a clear indication that maybe that's not the right situation for you. You should not feel like you have to be on all the time. There's times when you just want to come to the class and just free roll, or roll and try something new that you know you're going to fail at without judgment from the coach. Another one is a lack of clear recovery. If you're training all the time and you're not getting enough sleep, you're not eating right, you're not taking care of yourself, you're going to have moments of burnout, probably more often than anyone else. I would equate this also with not having hobbies outside the gym. The gym, as much as it's part of our passions, should not be the driving force for everything we do. We should be able to go, hey, I like reading, I like writing, I like spending time with the missus, I like coaching my kid on flag football, whatever it might be. You should have time and goals and aspirations outside of jiu-jitsu, so that jiu-jitsu doesn't become the focal point. And when it gets hard, you sort of resent it, and you can do other things. I am a huge proponent of hobbies outside of the mat. It makes you a better person. It makes you more well-rounded, and you're not focusing so much on the one thing. My personal belief, how to catch it early, I would say weekly check-ins with yourself. Questions like, do I look forward to training? Do I feel excited when training's coming around? Am I learning or just going through the motions? Those are clear indications that maybe you're dealing with burnout. Am I feeling more drained than fueled afterwards? And again, there's a difference. I'm going to be tired after training. And as an introvert, I live by this a bit more than other people. When I'm social, if I'm in the right circles, there's a tired that I have from being social. I'm an introvert. And then if I'm in the wrong circles, there's an exhaustion that comes afterwards where it's deep and it almost feels like in the bones. And the next couple of days, I don't want to do anything. If you get done with training and your body's just tired, sore, that's okay. That's to be expected. You should strive for that occasionally. If it's feeling completely depleted and drained, that's a different thing that we need to look into. It might be the nutrients you're taking in. It might be a health issue. It might be the fact that you're running on all gas, no brakes. We should adjust certain things. We could look at things differently. Things that I will actively do is planning out my weeks. If I'm at a point where I feel like I'm being drained or I'm at that burnout stage, I pull back. Something that people rarely do unless they're like on vacation or on a business trip. It's okay to take like a week or two off. And there's nothing wrong with that. We have this weird connotation with jiu-jitsu that you have to be there all the time. There's no off season. It's okay to take some time off. It's okay to take time off and not go anywhere. Like, hey, I got this business trip or vacation and that forces me off the mat, but I might still visit gyms while I'm out. But it's okay to set up, hey, I'm not teaching this week. I'm not training this week. I'm not going to do anything jiu-jitsu related. I'm taking a step back and I'm taking a vacation from jiu-jitsu. That is fine. It's unheard of. It doesn't happen as often as I think people should do it, but it's perfectly fine to do that. I have a habit of getting drained because of work, responsibilities, family from time to time, and then the amount of classes that I take on. Every once in a while, I will take a weekend off and I'll get a sub. I'll take the time off and I don't train at all. Usually by the end of like day 3, let's say the last day I trained was Friday, took the weekend off. I don't usually train or teach on Mondays. By Tuesday, I'm itching to get back. And it's a good feeling. It's a healthy feeling. So find ways to give yourself breaks. Take the time off, rejuvenate, spend time doing something else. Change your input. Like I mentioned earlier, sometimes when I was going through it, I went to a different instructor. And their youthfulness or their energeticness was something that would rub off on me, and then I would get driven by that as well. Or they were teaching something completely foreign to me, and that would entice my curiosity for the position or the submission or whatever it might be. So change things up, add new drills, train differently. If you have an instructor who is training very, very like traditionally, this technique versus that technique, on top of that technique, like ABC, sometimes you need to find someone who does just drills, situational sparring for the day, or someone who does like more of the new age. So we're going to be like the constraint led approach where you're just, hey, you're in side control. Your job is to pass them out. Bottom person's job is to retain guard. And those games kind of help, and they take away the pressure of learning technique. They kind of turn your brain off a little bit, and you can just play. The sparring aspect is everything that we love anyway. So adding that changes things up for you. Going to open mats, go to a seminar. I would suggest competing. For some people, that's a break in how they train as well. But if you're doing burnout, probably not a great idea. Do things that are different than what you're doing now to kind of like spice up your training regimen. Allow yourself to do just something new. Sometimes visiting another gym and their approach, the people, the way they interact, the way they demonstrate technique, the way they train, the way they warm up, all of that change is huge. And so it can alter and kind of shake off that drained feeling that you might be having. And then track your moods. Make sure that maybe this isn't a health thing. In some instances, as we're getting older, we think it's training that's messing us up or something else. And really it's maybe we're dealing with depression. Maybe we're dealing with a medical issue that's giving us low energy. So there's things that maybe they're outside of us, and we're just equating it to the fact that we are quote unquote burned out. Recovery is going to be massive. Make sure you're taking some time off. Make sure you're getting the right amount of sleep, shifting your goals, stretching. Every once in a while, I used to get a massage that kind of like helped things out. Just pay attention to your body. Pay attention to yourself. This isn't something that you can just bulldoze through. At the end of the day, it's still going to catch you at some point. So really, it's important for you to take a step back, look at what's going on, pay attention to you, pay attention to what you're feeling. Don't disregard any of your feelings because they're important as well. And then make adjustments. If you have any questions on this or anything else, you can hit me up at dfm.2099 on Instagram and Threads. I'm pretty active there. If you'd like to work with me, remote coaching, technique review, video review, workshops, private lessons, hit me up at dfmcoaching.com. Until next time, thank you so much.